Chapter 1. The Encounter. The vast, uncharted planet's Araxis. 9 loomed ahead like a swirling marble of green and violet. Its surface shimmered with an iridescent glow, hinting at the dense atmosphere of exotic gases that surrounded it. Aaron Trent, a human exobiologist and reluctant adventurer, tightened his grip on the controls of his battered exploration shuttle. "This better be worth it," Aaron muttered to himself, glancing at the dimming display on his console. His voice echoed faintly in the cramped cabin, the only sound other than the faint hum of the ship's thrusters. His supply levels were dangerously low, and his ship's AI, an outdated model with a tendency to nag, had been warning him about the shuttle's structural integrity for the past hour. Mission log entry. Day 57. The probe sent to Araxis. 9 detected faint traces of organic material previously thought extinct, possibly connected to the Prolagan megafauna, an ancient species rumored to have lived over 2 million years ago. If the data is correct, this planet could be the most significant biological find of the decade. If I don't die first. Aaron sighed and leaned back in his seat, staring at the vast jungle below as his shuttle descended into the atmosphere. Thick vines and colossal trees covered the landscape, their sizes dwarfing anything he'd seen on Earth. The entire planet seemed oversized, lush, but unnervingly alien. Atmospheric entry complete, the AI announced, detecting high concentrations of nitrogen and methane. Breathing outside is inadvisable. Aaron rolled his eyes. Noted. Anything else? Warning. Gravitational anomalies detected. Landing may cause damage to the ship's thrusters. Not like I have a choice, Aaron muttered, guiding the shuttle toward a clearing in the jungle. As the landing gear extended, the ship jolted violently, throwing him forward against his restraints. Landing successful barely, the AI added, a touch of snark in its monotone voice. Aaron groaned, unbuckling himself and grabbing his gear. Yeah, keep the sarcasm coming. It's very motivating. Exploring the unknown. Stepping outside, Aaron was immediately struck by the planet's sheer scale. The vegetation towered over him, with tree trunks as wide as skyscrapers and flowers the size of small houses. The air was thick with humidity, and the ground beneath his boots felt springy, as if the soil itself was alive. He activated his environmental suit, the helmet sealing with a soft hiss. A digital display on the visor scanned his surroundings, highlighting plant species and chemical compositions. Okay, he muttered, pulling out his scanner. Let's see what all the fuss is about. For hours, Aaron moved through the jungle, documenting everything he encountered. The flora was unlike anything he'd seen: bioluminescent vines that pulsed with light, trees that exhaled faint clouds of spores, and carnivorous plants with jaws large enough to swallow a car. Beautiful but deadly, Aaron murmured, snapping a photo of a particularly vicious-looking flower. As the day wore on, the jungle seemed to grow denser, the shadows deepening as the twin suns dipped below the horizon. Aaron checked his tracker, noting his position relative to the shuttle. He was about to turn back when he heard a deep, rumbling sound that made the ground tremble beneath his feet. What the hell? He froze, his heart pounding as the rumbling grew louder. It wasn't the random vibration of seismic activity. It was rhythmic, like footsteps. Aaron crouched behind a large rock, his scanner held tightly in his hands. The footsteps stopped, and for a moment, the jungle fell silent. Then, a massive shadow fell across the trees. The Giantess appears. From the foliage emerged a creature so massive that Aaron's mind struggled to comprehend it. Unmistakably she was humanoid in form, but stood over 50 feet tall. Her skin was a deep shade of violet, and her hair, long and silver, cascaded down her back like a waterfall of light. Her eyes glowed faintly, their luminescence casting a soft aura around her angular, alien features. Aaron's breath caught in his throat as he took in the rest of her. She wore minimal clothing, woven strips of fabric, made from what appeared to be the jungle's vegetation. Her muscles rippled with every movement, her presence exuding raw power and grace. She paused, her glowing eyes scanning the jungle. Her nostrils flared, and her gaze locked onto the spot where Aaron was hiding. "Not good," he whispered, his hands trembling. The Giantess tilted her head, her expression curious rather than hostile. She took a step closer, the ground shaking beneath her massive feet. Aaron ducked lower, his heart hammering in his chest. Vrathak lak Horan? Her voice was deep and melodic, reverberating through the air like a low-frequency hum. Aaron's suit's translation software struggled to parse her words. The result flashed across his visor. Who are you? A fragile first contact. Aaron hesitated, his mind racing. He could try to run, but it was unlikely he'd get far. The giantess could crush him in an instant if she chose to. Slowly, he stood, raising his hands to show he wasn't a threat. I come in peace, he said, his voice shaky. I mean no harm. The giantess's glowing eyes narrowed slightly, her massive head tilting as she studied him. She crouched down, bringing her face closer to his level. Aaron fought the urge to step back as her gaze bore into him. Heron Ethfora? She asked, her tone softer this time. The translator interpreted, Why are you here? I'm an explorer, Aaron said, fumbling for words. I study planets like this, life forms like you. The giantess's expression shifted, a flicker of understanding crossing her features. She reached out slowly, her hand massive enough to crush him, but moving with surprising delicacy. Aaron flinched as her fingers brushed against his suit's helmet. Krenvak Horak, she murmured. The translator hesitated but offered, strange creature. Yeah, well, the feeling's mutual, Aaron muttered, still trembling. The giantess's lips curved into what might have been a smile. She sat back on her haunches, her massive form casting a long shadow over the jungle. For a moment, neither spoke, the silence filled only by the distant sounds of the alien wilderness. A new kind of hunger. Just as Aaron began to relax, the giantess's stomach let out a deep, rumbling growl. Her hand moved to her abdomen, her expression shifting to one of discomfort. Oh, great, Aaron muttered. She's hungry. The giantess glanced at him, her glowing eyes narrowing. For a terrifying moment, he thought she might view him as a potential meal. But instead of attacking, she gestured toward him, her tone insistent. Harak nor Vratha. The translator displayed, You must help. Aaron blinked, confused. Help? With what? She pointed to her stomach, then at him, her expression urgent. You can't be serious, he said, his voice rising. You think I can just what? Feed you? Do I look like a buffet? The giantess growled, her impatience evident. She reached out again, this time plucking Aaron off the ground as if he weighed nothing. Whoa. Okay, let's talk about this. Aaron shouted, his voice echoing in his helmet. The giantess didn't respond. Instead, she carried him deeper into the jungle, her movements swift but careful. As the massive trees blurred past, Aaron couldn't help but wonder, what have I gotten myself into? Chapter 2. A Giant's Hunger. The journey deeper into the jungle was surreal, with Aaron Trent's mind struggling to process the sheer scale of his situation literally and figuratively. The giantess carried him effortlessly, her massive strides spanning distances that would have taken him hours to cross. Her violet skin shimmered in the fading light, and her glowing eyes scanned their surroundings with purpose. Aaron's protests fell on deaf ears as the giantess moved through the dense foliage. His suit's sensors struggled to keep up, alerting him to the unusual density of the atmosphere and the biodiversity of the flora they passed. Yet all of that paled in comparison to the immediate problem at hand. What did she want from him? Okay, Aaron said aloud, his voice shaky. Let's just take a second to figure this out. You're not going to eat me, right? Because I'm not on the menu. The giantess didn't respond verbally, but her expression remained focused. Her grip on him was firm but not painful, her large hand cradling him like a precious artifact rather than a potential snack. Still, Aaron couldn't shake the feeling that this situation was heading in a very weird direction. The clearing. They reached a massive clearing in the jungle, where the trees gave way to a natural amphitheater of towering rocks. The ground was covered in moss that glowed faintly in the twilight, and a crystal-clear stream wound through the center. The area was both beautiful and imposing, a hidden sanctuary untouched by time. The giantess gently set Aaron down near the stream, her glowing eyes narrowing as she crouched to examine him more closely. She gestured to her stomach, which rumbled again with a sound like distant thunder. Harak nor Vratha, she said, her voice insistent. The translator in Aaron's helmet hesitated, then displayed, "Help me?" Aaron frowned, glancing between her and the stream. "Help you? How? I'm not exactly carrying snacks for someone your size." The giantess sighed, an oddly human gesture that made her seem less alien for a moment. She reached into the stream and pulled out a large, shell-like object, a kind of massive mollusk. She cracked it open effortlessly, revealing a glowing, gelatinous substance inside. "Vraka no ran," she said, holding the mollusk toward him. The translator interpreted, "Prepare this." Aaron blinked. "You want me to cook it?" The giantess nodded, her expression firm. Aaron let out a nervous laugh. "Right. No pressure or anything." Cooking for a giantess. Aaron rummaged through his suit's utility belt, pulling out a compact field burner and a small pot. He set them up quickly, his movements fueled by adrenaline. The mollusk's gelatinous core glowed faintly as he extracted it and placed it in the pot. "Let's hope this doesn't explode," Aaron muttered, igniting the burner. The gelatin began to bubble and hiss, releasing a surprisingly pleasant aroma. Aaron used a multi-tool to stir it carefully, adding a bit of purified water from his suit's reserves. The giantess watched intently, her glowing eyes narrowing as she crouched beside him. "Okay," Aaron said, glancing up at her. "This is either going to be a gourmet meal or the worst soup ever made. Don't judge me." The giantess tilted her head, her expression unreadable. After a few minutes, the gelatin transformed into a thick, glowing paste. Aaron turned off the burner and stepped back, gesturing toward the pot. "All yours, big lady." The giantess leaned down, her massive hand carefully lifting the pot. She sniffed the contents, her glowing eyes widening slightly. Without hesitation, she tipped the pot back and drank the glowing mixture. For a moment, there was silence. Aaron held his breath, half expecting her to spit it out or worse. Instead, her expression softened, and she let out a contented hum that resonated through the clearing. "Well," Aaron said, exhaling in relief, "glad you liked it." A new kind of hunger. As Aaron began packing up his equipment, the giantess spoke again. "Vrathak nor heinous?" The translator displayed, "What are you?" Aaron hesitated, unsure how to explain himself. "I'm a human, from a planet called Earth. I came here to study life forms like you." The giantess tilted her head, her glowing eyes narrowing. "Human? Small but clever." Aaron couldn't help but chuckle. "I'll take that as a compliment." The giantess sat back, her massive form towering over him. She studied him for a long moment before speaking again. "Why are you alone? Where is your kin?" Aaron's smile faded slightly. "I'm not alone by choice. My ship, well, let's just say I don't have a lot of options right now." The giantess's expression softened, a flicker of understanding crossing her features. "You are lost. Like me." Aaron frowned. "Lost? What do you mean?" The giantess glanced around the clearing, her gaze distant. "My people are gone. I am the last." The weight of her words settled over Aaron like a stone. He hadn't considered the possibility that she might be as isolated as he was. Despite her size and power, she was just as vulnerable in her own way. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "That must be lonely." The giantess nodded slowly. "Lonely? Yes. But you, strange human, you make me laugh." Aaron blinked, caught off guard by her sudden shift in tone. "Wait, what? When did I make you laugh?" "You are small, yet you act so bold." "It is amusing." Aaron couldn't help but grin. "Well, glad I could brighten your day." The giantess leaned closer, her massive face filling his vision. "Stay. I will not let you be alone." Aaron's heart skipped a beat. The idea of staying on this planet, with her, was both terrifying and oddly comforting. "You mean, you want me to live here? With you?" She nodded, her expression firm. "Yes. You will teach me your ways. And I will protect you." Aaron hesitated, the weight of her offer sinking in. It wasn't like he had a lot of options. His ship was barely functional, and the odds of rescue were slim. And, despite everything, there was something oddly endearing about her. "All right," he said finally. "But if I'm staying, we're going to need to work on communication." The giantess smiled, a genuine, radiant smile that lit up the clearing. "Agreed, little human." For the first time since landing on Araxis 9, Aaron felt a flicker of hope. His journey had taken an unexpected turn, but maybe, just maybe, he had found a place where he belonged. Chapter 3. Bonds Forged in the Wild. The first rays of Araxis 9's twin suns filtered through the towering trees of the jungle, bathing the clearing in a surreal mix of golden and violet light. Aaron Trent sat cross-legged near the edge of the stream, watching as the giantess whom he had begun to call Kara gathered massive fruits from a nearby tree. Her towering form moved with a surprising grace, her violet skin gleaming in the morning light. In the short time since their strange partnership had formed, Aaron had begun to see her less as a towering predator and more as a curious, lonely being trying to survive. Despite her size and strength, she was as much at the mercy of this dangerous planet as he was. "You know," Aaron called out, "if you keep feeding me like this, I might get spoiled." Kara turned, a faint smile curving her lips. "Small human needs much food to grow." Aaron chuckled, shaking his head. "I hate to break it to you, but I'm not getting any taller." Kara's smile widened, a rumbling laugh escaping her throat. The sound resonated through the clearing, and Aaron found himself smiling too. For all her size and strength, there was something disarming about her laugh, something that made her feel less like an alien and more like a friend. Learning to communicate. After their initial bond had formed, Aaron and Kara had spent their days exploring the clearing and working on their ability to communicate. While his suit's translator was useful, it struggled with the nuances of her language, leaving many of her expressions open to interpretation. To bridge the gap, Aaron had started teaching her simple words in English. Kara was a quick learner, her glowing eyes narrowing with focus as she repeated each word he taught her. "Tree," Aaron said, pointing to a nearby trunk. "Tree," Kara echoed, her deep voice rumbling. "Water," Aaron said, gesturing to the stream. "Water." "Snack," he said, holding up one of the small fruits she had gathered. Kara tilted her head, her expression curious. "Snack. Small food." Aaron grinned. "Exactly. You're getting the hang of this." Kara's lips curved into a smile, but her expression turned thoughtful. She pointed to herself and said, "Kara, giant. You, Aaron, small human." "That's right," Aaron said, surprised by her understanding. "We're different, but we can work together." Kara nodded, her glowing eyes softening. "Together. Better." Danger in the jungle. Their relative peace was shattered later that day when the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. At first, Aaron thought it might be Kara moving nearby, but the vibrations quickly grew stronger, accompanied by a low, guttural roar. Kara's expression darkened, and she turned toward the sound, her muscles tensing. "Hrodhack. Danger." Aaron's heart raced. "What's a hrodhack?" Kara didn't answer. Instead, she reached down and lifted him onto her shoulder, her massive hand steadying him as she began to move. Her strides were swift, each step shaking the ground beneath them. "Okay, this is fine," Aaron muttered, clinging to her shoulder. "Totally fine." As they emerged from the clearing, Aaron caught sight of the creature pursuing them. It was massive, even by Araxis 9 standards, a hulking, quadrupedal beast with armored scales and glowing red eyes. Its jaws snapped at the air, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth. Kara turned to face the creature, her stance wide and firm. "Stay. Safe." She set Aaron down behind a boulder, her glowing eyes locking onto his. "What are you doing?" Aaron shouted, his voice trembling. "You can't fight that thing." Kara didn't answer. Instead, she let out a deep, resonant roar that echoed through the jungle. The hrodhack stopped, its glowing eyes narrowing as it sized her up. The battle. The hrodhack charged, its massive claws tearing through the earth. Kara met it head-on, her powerful arms grabbing hold of its jaws as it tried to snap at her. The ground trembled beneath their struggle, and Aaron could only watch in awe and terror. Kara's strength was immense, but the hrodhack was relentless. It twisted and thrashed, its tail lashing out and striking her side. She stumbled but quickly regained her footing, her glowing eyes blazing with determination. "Come on, Kara," Aaron muttered, his fists clenched. "You've got this." Kara let out another roar, her muscles straining as she pushed the Hrothak back. With a swift motion, she grabbed a nearby tree trunk and swung it like a club, striking the creature's side. The Hrothak howled in pain, its movements growing more erratic. Sensing an opportunity, Kaora delivered a final, powerful blow to the creature's head. The Hrothak let out a final roar before collapsing to the ground, its glowing eyes dimming. Aaron emerged from his hiding spot, his heart pounding. That was insane. Kaora turned to him, her breathing heavy but her expression calm. Hrothak, no more danger. Aaron nodded, his legs shaky as he approached her. You're incredible, you know that? Kaora tilted her head, a faint smile curving her lips. Protect Aaron, always. A growing bond. As the sun set over Araxis, 9, the clearing once again became a sanctuary. Aaron and Kaora sat near the stream, the tension of the day giving way to a quiet sense of camaraderie. You didn't have to do that, Aaron said, breaking the silence. Risk yourself for me, I mean. Kaora glanced at him, her glowing eyes thoughtful. Aaron, part of Kaora now. Protect. Together. Aaron smiled, his chest tightening with gratitude. You're not so bad for a giant carnivore. Kaora chuckled, the sound rumbling through the clearing. Not eat Aaron. Protect Aaron. Glad to hear it, Aaron said, leaning back against a rock. Because I think I'm starting to like it here. Kaora's smile widened, and for the first time since arriving on Araxis, 9, Aaron felt a sense of peace. He might have come to this planet as a stranger, but with Kaora by his side, it was starting to feel like home. Chapter 4. Secrets of Araxis, 9. The moons of Araxis. 9 cast a silvery glow over the clearing, their light reflecting off the stream and bathing the jungle in an ethereal luminescence. Aaron, Trent, and Kaora, the giantess, sat near the fire they had built together. The warmth of the flames danced across Kaora's violet skin, while Aaron leaned against a moss-covered rock, his mind still reeling from the day's events. So, Aaron began, breaking the comfortable silence. You're telling me this Hrothak wasn't just some random predator? Kaora's glowing amber eyes met his, her expression serious. No, Hrothak was. Guardian. Placed here long ago. Aaron frowned, setting aside the fruit he had been eating. A guardian of what? Kaora hesitated, her gaze drifting toward the horizon. This planet was home to my people. Long ago, we thrived here. But things changed. Her voice trailed off, and Aaron leaned forward, his curiosity piqued. Changed how? Kaora sighed, her massive shoulders rising and falling. We were builders, creators. But we reached too far. The jungle fought back, and many were lost. Those who survived left. Only I remain, tied to this place. Aaron stared at her, the weight of her words sinking in. You're the last of your kind? Kaora nodded slowly. Yes, and the Hrothak was meant to guard what we left behind. Secrets buried deep, dangerous to all. Aaron's mind raced. He hadn't come to Araxis, 9 expecting to find answers to galactic mysteries, but now it seemed the planet held more than he'd bargained for. What kind of secrets? Kaora stood, her towering form casting a long shadow over the clearing. I will show you. The journey beneath. Kaora led Aaron through the dense jungle, her movements careful yet determined. The towering trees and glowing vines seemed to part for her as she walked, their bioluminescent hues shifting in her presence. Aaron followed closely, his environmental suit's sensors picking up faint energy signatures as they moved deeper into the wilderness. Where are we going? Aaron asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Kaora glanced back at him, her expression unreadable. To the heart of Araxis, the cradle of my people. After hours of travel, they arrived at a massive chasm that seemed to split the jungle in two. At the bottom, a faint glow emanated from what appeared to be an ancient structure, its surface covered in intricate carvings that pulsed faintly with energy. Whoa, Aaron breathed, staring down at the structure. What is that? A relic of my people, Kaora said. A place of knowledge and danger. Aaron hesitated, glancing at her. And you think it's safe for us to go down there? Kaora nodded. Together, we will be safe. Aaron swallowed hard, his nerves on edge. All right, let's do this. The relic awakens. The descent into the chasm was treacherous, with Kaora carefully carrying Aaron while navigating the rocky walls. When they reached the bottom, the sheer scale of the ancient structure became apparent. The carvings on its surface seemed to shift and shimmer as they approached, and the air grew thick with an almost electric charge. Kaora placed Aaron gently on the ground, then stepped forward, her massive hand resting on the structure's surface. The carvings reacted instantly, glowing brighter as a low hum filled the air. "What's happening?" Aaron asked, his voice tinged with awe. "The relic knows me," Kaora said. "It remembers my people." The hum grew louder, and a section of the structure began to shift, revealing a massive entrance. Kaora glanced at Aaron, her expression serious. "Stay close." They entered the relic, the interior illuminated by faint, pulsating lights. The walls were covered in more carvings, depicting scenes of towering figures like Kaora building cities, tending to the jungle, and eventually battling massive creatures. "This is incredible," Aaron whispered, his eyes darting across the carvings. "It's like a record of your people's history." Kaora nodded, her voice soft. "Yes, but it also holds warnings." Aaron's attention was drawn to a particular carving that showed a massive explosion consuming a city. "What happened here?" "We created something terrible," Kaora said, her voice heavy with regret. "A weapon meant to protect us from the jungle's dangers. But it turned against us. This relic is what remains of our knowledge. And our mistake." Aaron's heart sank as he pieced together her story. "And the Hrad hack? Was it part of the weapon?" Kaora shook her head. "The Hrad hack was meant to guard this place, to ensure no one awakened what lies within." Aaron frowned, his curiosity warring with his sense of caution. "And now?" Kaora placed a hand on his shoulder, her massive fingers surprisingly gentle. "Now, we ensure it remains buried. Together." A test of trust. As they ventured deeper into the relic, the air grew colder, and the lights dimmed. Aaron's suit sensors began to register faint energy spikes, and he couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. "Are you sure this is safe?" he asked, glancing nervously at Kaora. "No," she admitted, "but it must be done." They reached a massive chamber at the heart of the relic, where a glowing orb hovered above a pedestal. The orb pulsed with an intense energy, its light casting strange shadows across the room. "This is it," Kaora said, her voice low. "The core of our knowledge. It must remain dormant." Aaron stepped closer, his curiosity getting the better of him. "What happens if it doesn't?" Kaora's expression darkened. "Then this planet, and beyond, will burn." Aaron swallowed hard, realizing the gravity of their task. "So how do we stop it?" Kaora extended her hand, and the carvings on the walls began to shift again. The room filled with a deep, resonant hum as the orb's glow dimmed slightly. "Together, we must seal it," she said. "It will take both of us." Aaron nodded, stepping forward and placing his hand on the pedestal beside hers. The moment their hands touched the surface, the chamber trembled, and the orb's light began to fade. A new beginning. When the tremors subsided, the orb was dark, its energy contained once more. The carvings on the walls dimmed, and the chamber fell silent. Kaora turned to Aaron, her glowing eyes filled with gratitude. "You have done more than I expected, small human. You are part of this now. Part of me." Aaron smiled, exhaustion tugging at his features. "Well, I wasn't expecting to save a planet today, but I'll take it." Kaora chuckled softly, her massive form radiating warmth. "You are brave, Aaron. Together, we will keep this place safe." As they left the relic and emerged into the jungle, Aaron felt a strange sense of peace. Araxis, 9, was still wild and dangerous, but with Kaora by his side, it felt a little less daunting. "Looks like I'm stuck with you," Aaron said, glancing up at her. Kaora smiled, her glowing eyes filled with a rare warmth. "And I with you, small human." For the first time since arriving on Araxis, 9, Aaron felt like he belonged. Together, he and Kaora would face whatever challenges the planet and the galaxy threw their way.